Bought a black cord for my microphone because I wear black far more often than I wear white, and I used to have a white microphone thing. Bought a 6 meter long cord. That's too long. I don't need that. Just gonna pop that in my pocket. It's glaze day in the studio, which is famously, I don't know if it's famous or not, but it's definitely one of my least favorite days in the studio. I don't really like glazing. I don't hide that fact. It's just kind of boring. It's the finishing touches that we all need to do as ceramicists, but it's just not as fun as throwing. Throwing and trimming, that's my jam. Glazing is sometimes painful. However, I've worked out some ways, some tips to make glazing less shit. I'll share them with you today, my top tips. Tip number 1, prepare. You have to prepare really well. And that is not just on glaze day itself, but actually like when you're making the pieces. You've got to think about what the glaze is going to do on the pieces. I like to sort of picture how they're going to be finished. I have obviously been doing this for 10 years, so I know what my clay looks like when it's finished, and I know what the glaze looks like as well when it's finished, and kind of their relationship together. If you're new to it, you're going to want to do loads and loads of testing, and so that, I think, comes under the prepare tab. Next thing in the prep stage is bisquing. So you want to make sure you bisque your pieces properly and well, and ideally you don't have any cracks or warps or anything like that. If you do, don't glaze them, just say goodbye to your piece, RIP, or you can use any cracked piece as a tester, and then you can kind of move on from it when it comes out of the kiln broken. You aren't going to be emotionally heartbroken. You know what I'm saying? But you want to make sure you're bisquing to a consistent temperature. So if you've got 2 or 3 batches of bisqueware to go through, make sure you're always bisquing at the same temperature so that the pieces are all the same absorbency. You want to make sure that you're not stacking your pieces incorrectly so that they crack or whatever. If you want to watch a video about how I bisque, then this video up here is the one to click. I'll also link it in the description so that you can go back to it after you've watched this whole video, because it's going to be nice. Next up, you want to clear your space. You want your studio to be as stress-free and unchaotic as possible. So that might mean coming in on a Monday like me, and on Friday I mopped and I cleaned everything up because I knew that I would be glazing on Monday, and I don't want to overwhelm myself any more than I already am with cleaning and other kind of studio tasks. So I've put all my dried pieces on the shelves, they're out of the way. I have mopped the floors, I have got everything, like the bins are empty, everything's ready to go. So it's calm and peaceful in here. There's cat fur on my microphone. For me, a big part of glazing and glaze apprehension is deciding what to do and kind of getting that decision fatigue, or that thing like when you have so many things to do that you just end up doing nothing. I suffer from that all the time, and so I find it's so much easier if I can prepare everything and think about what I'm doing before I actually start doing it. So I group all of my pieces in the finishes that they're going to be in. So I will have different piles for different glaze colors, and then I will prepare any kind of wax resist or any decoration that needs to happen beforehand, get it all ready before I even get the glaze buckets out. That helps me so much, so that when I actually am doing the physical act of glazing, it's just glazing. I'm not thinking about it anymore, I'm just going through the motions. That has helped me so much. So I use my big table as the place where I put everything, and then I can glaze each item one after the other. Waxing is a decision that some people do, so I don't like to wax. I find it's just like a kind of a waste of resources and waste of time, and I don't really like the smell of the wax when it is being fired, so I try to avoid it. I do use wax as a decoration, so I will draw stripes or grids or whatever the client wants onto my pieces with wax resist, and that's kind of the only time that I'm using it. I made all of this stuff for a made to order release that I did recently, so all of the glazes are already decided by you guys, which is great. I have a form that I'm going to go through so that each piece will get a label, and I put the label in each piece of bisqueware, and then that goes into a pile so that when I pick up the glaze and see that it says this is a pink thing and it's fully pink, or this is a blue thing but it's inside only, I don't have to make that decision anymore. I just look at the piece of paper and I go for it. Once you've made the decisions on kind of what you're doing, then you should look at your glazes and just make sure you have enough of each. Otherwise, you'll get halfway through and you'll be like, damn it, I've made a huge mistake. I need to do some MacGyver engineering situation to make sure that I can get enough glaze on this piece, whatever it is, or you will have to make a different decision and change your mind halfway through. It's easier to look at your stock of stuff before you get started. And if you need to make more glaze, then do that as early as possible so that you can just get through the flow of stuff once you've started. Very important part of prep is the mental preparation for it. I know I don't like glazing, so I have little treats to get me going along the way. I have a podcast that I'll be listening to, or an audiobook or something that I'm like tuned into. The listening is sorted, I'm like distracted. And I also have treats. So I've got a great lunch today. Got aubergine parmigiana that I made last night. Delicious. And I also have a Diet Coke, because that's what the girlies want, okay? And I love a Diet Coke, and I know at 3 o'clock I'm gonna be fading and I'm gonna need a little bit more energy in the fridge cooling, and I'm real excited. I'm already excited about that. So that's like a reward for later. Lovely. And then that's step 2, which is glazing. When I'm actually about to start glazing, I will kind of separate my things from the table of stuff that is waiting to be glazed. I'll glaze on a different bench so that I don't splash any of a different color glaze on a piece that's, meant to be something else. I've learned the hard way. I've done that so many times. So I glaze elsewhere. Everything's prepared. I don't have to think about it anymore. I just do the glazing. Just go for it. Just boom, 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 get it done. And then once the entire batch is done, then I wipe all the bottoms and I will clean up with different colored buckets of water, if that makes sense. If I have a batch of white stuff, then I will use a bowl of water that's just for the white glaze, and then later I can let that settle. I can pour the water off and keep the rest of the glaze, put it back in the bucket and kind of be efficient with it. Any glaze slops that get all mixed up and messy and I don't want to put them back into a single glaze bucket, then I have a glaze slops area, which is just like a big bucket of mystery glaze. To be honest, maybe I should do a little test piece in the mystery glaze and see what we've got going on in there. Fun experiment. New video coming up. After I've cleaned all of the bases of the pots, then I also clean the space up. Glazing can sometimes feel a little bit hectic in my life, so yeah, I try and kind of clean up as I go. The cleaning part is also the part where I take stock of any glazes that have ran low. So if I am running out of a pink glaze or whatever, then I'll write that down so that next time I'm not caught short. And then later I can do any fettling or any clearing of pinholes or drips or anything like that as well. So I kind of do that all in the cleaning stage. Then it's time to fire your pots. Everything gets loaded into the kiln. If you want to watch a video on how to glaze fire, then this is the video for you. Again, I'll put it in the description if you want to watch that later instead of right now. So everything goes in the kiln, it goes through the firing, and then 2 days later, it's time to unload the kiln and have a look at all your hard work. It's all finished, you did it. It's time to admire and marvel in your beautiful pieces that you've made. It's been 2 days. And I was going to do a kiln unload for you, but this morning I had a very exciting thing happen in my studio where some people from TVNZ, which is like, it's the main news station in New Zealand, came and interviewed me about my opinions as a Kiwi on the upcoming UK elections.
This Kiwi ceramicist living in London, one of many here sceptical real change is round the corner, with voter turnout the lowest in 20 years.
So, that was really exciting. Anyway, I wanted to show them the kiln load. So sadly, it's not an organic kiln unload, which I usually do, but I'm gonna show you all the things that came out of it. First of all, we have a whole lot of these plates, which I'm really happy with. Beautiful, shiny white color. These plates came out great. So there's 8 of those in total. Then we have this stripy plate as well, which I put the stripes on with the ceramic pencil, and it just has a nude glaze on top. So I think, yeah, they're really effective. That's a really beautiful plate. I love the kind of conversation that the glaze and the stripes and the speckles have together. I think it is like a simple finish, but quite a beautiful finish, if I say so myself. These tumblers, which are raw on the outside, and we've got the white glaze on the inside. 4 of those. They've ordered 3, but I'm gonna give them 1 extra because they've ordered heaps of stuff from me, so it's like a little thank you treat from me. Here they all are together. Got this pink lemon juicer, so this is an ordered piece, so I'm pretty sure this finishes this person's order, which is great. We've got this test piece of this glaze that I wasn't sure about. So there was an ingredient swap in here. It's a flux that basically makes the melt happen at a certain point. That's changed suppliers, so I wasn't sure if it was going to be the same thing because it's a slightly different chemical makeup. So I wanted to test it and it looks pretty much exactly the same, so I'm very happy with that. Just a rogue tester, but I think it's actually a really beautiful piece. Some mustard cups, and whenever cups come out of the kiln I always check around the handles to make sure there's no crack, but this cup's lovely. There's no cracks, which is great. Then we have the checkered cups. This looks great in this color, in the mustard color. However, there's also a white version, which I'm not that into. This is the white version compared to the mustard. The mustard is more subtle, that with the checkered pattern on it. This, I think, is too harsh, and I think the glaze doesn't act in the same way against the wax resist as the mustard does. So you don't get such a crisp kind of finish. I also, I purposely didn't wipe these little areas off, but I think it doesn't look that good. I won't be doing that again, but that's fine. It's always good to test. Anyway, these ones I have 3. Then we've got this big pint cup, which is honey on the inside and raw on the outside. I'm pretty sure this person has ordered 2 of these, so I need to put another one in the kiln, but I'm happy with that, and it obviously holds a lot of tea, so yeah, if you are a big tea drinker, then maybe this is the cup for you. Then there's another version of it in the honey. Sadly, this one has got a crack in the handle. I'll show you, see if you can see that. Will either be a second, I'll test it, make sure it's not going to move at all, but I'll sell it as a second, or I'll give it to like a friend or something and just say sorry about the crack. One of these guys, honey in the shorter tumbler as well, I think. Yeah, he's pretty cute. So this is the dip finish, this is the full finish, and then this is the inside only, all in different colors. Almost done. Got 2 more of these cups. So this is the nude color, just plain nude, and then this is nude with the pencil stripes as well. A nice little breakfast pair, these 2. You could have your coffee and your eggs on toast as a little set, real cute. These 2 ridge cups, which are that angled kind of shape that I do. One of my all-time best sellers is this shape of cup. I don't do it all the time because they're quite time consuming, and I sell them for the same amount as my other more simple shapes, but they are a really beautiful shape. The pink is a really nice baby pink, and they stack in each other like that. And then last but not least is this little candlestick in nude. Real cute. Will hold a candle, will look lovely on somebody's table, I think. And that's it. That's my glazing top tips. Some psychopaths out there of you enjoy glazing. I don't get it, but I love that for you, and I would like to swap energies every now and again. That would be lovely. We can't do that realistically. So that's why I have kind of this system down, and it helps me get through it. Thank you very much for joining me on this journey, and I hope that you have learned something. I hope that you can find little ways to enjoy glazing as well if you're not a psychopath like those people, and that you can find some little element of joy in the finishing process, even if it's just a little Diet Coke. This isn't sponsored, by the way. I just love Diet Coke. I have like 1 a week, just one, a single one, and that gets me through. You can follow me on Instagram and TikTok. I'm at mae.ceramics, and I will see you again next week for another pottery video. Goodbye. I love you.